When the Hawthorne family, the wealthiest family in all of Bay City, finally tracked me down, I was already a rising star in the entertainment industry. The day I returned to the Hawthorne mansion, paparazzi from across the city had gathered outside, live streaming the entire scene. Camera flashes flooded the entrance like lightning. Standing at the front door, blocking my way in, was the Hawthornes' adopted son. "Our family hasn't had an actor in 100 years, he said coldly. "The Hawthornes have their own rules. You have to change your clothes in public before you're allowed inside." He lifted his chin arrogantly. "Dad said that when he and Big Sis aren't home, I'm in charge. I hope you understand." In my past life, I would have swallowed my pride. I would have smiled politely, tried to please them, desperate to maintain my image. But this time was different. I had been reborn. Without hesitation, I kicked aside the decorative fire pit near the entrance and shoved him hard out of my way. "Did you grow a tumor in your brain?" I snapped. "You want to strip me in public? Look at yourself. Are you even worthy?" I straightened my collar, eyes cold. "Every inch of my body is insured. You couldn't afford compensation for even a single strand of my hair." Then I leaned closer, voice sharp. "Big shot? I can't wait to see you crying when you're kicked out of the Hawthorne family." The moment my words fell, the paparazzi surged forward like a tidal wave. Cameras flashed nonstop, nearly blinding everyone. "Zach, rumor has it you're the long-lost young master of the Hawthorne family. Is that true? You came back today in anger. Is it because you resent Kyle Hawthorne for stealing your position? This temper doesn't match your usual gentle public image, does it?" The questions came like bullets, one after another. In my previous life, there was someone called Kyle Hawthorne. When I finally returned to the family, all the attention shifted to him. He used me as a stepping stone, spread rumors about my chaotic private life, and let the internet tear me apart. In the end, I died from depression, crushed by cyberbullying. But this time, I wouldn't be anyone's pawn. Kyle stood there stunned for several seconds, clearly not expecting me to fight back. When he finally snapped out of it, I was already walking inside. He rushed forward and grabbed me, blocking my path again. "Zach Hawthorne," he said stiffly, "we all welcome you back. But you can't disrespect the Hawthorne family like this." His gaze turned disdainful. "You're not even pursuing a proper acting career. Instead, you film those ambiguous art films just for views. How is that any different from being a performer?" "Dad was furious when he found out," Kyle continued. "Someone as dirty as you must change clothes before entering." As he spoke, he actually reached out to tear at my clothes. I kicked him away. "How dare you?" Even if I weren't a Hawthorne, I was still a celebrity worth millions. "I'm warning you," I said coldly. "Touch me again, and I'll see you in court." Kyle fell to the ground, glaring at me with rage. How dare you kick me?" This kind of confrontation was exactly what the paparazzi lived for. They shoved their microphones right into Kyle's face. "Young Master Hawthorne, Zach is extremely popular. Aren't you happy to have such a brother? After all, Zach is the Hawthorne's biological child. Don't you think you're being a bit harsh?" Kyle suddenly smiled. The calculation in his eyes was obvious. "Of course I'm happy to have a brother," he said smoothly. "But this was my dad's idea." He paused, then added, "I'm also preparing to debut in the industry. But I know what I should and shouldn't do. I would never sell my body for attention." His voice sharpened. "So no one here is nobler than anyone else. Today, as his brother, and as the young master of the Hawthorne family, I'm simply establishing some rules for him." I looked down at him coldly. "Young master," I said quietly. "Wait until the Hawthornes acknowledge you before calling yourself that. Right now," I continued, "you're just a cuckoo in someone else's nest." Kyle trembled with fury, but in front of the cameras, he didn't dare touch me. I smirked and adjusted my collar. "What? Weren't you just about to recognize me as family? If you don't want me, I'll leave." The paparazzi immediately seized the opportunity to stir things up. "We heard the Hawthornes initiated this reunion, but now they're keeping Zach out. What's the family's true intention? Do they really despise Zach's art film that went viral online? Are wealthy people really this ignorant about art? Kyle's face turned pale. He couldn't say a word. Having the upper hand really did make all the difference. Just then, the Hawthornes' old butler hurried out. "Young master," he said to Kyle, "the old master just called. He's watching the live stream and will be back soon." Then he turned to me, his tone tinged with contempt. "The old master said actors love to act. He told you not to be afraid. You're the only son in his heart. No one can bully you." The paparazzi exploded. So even if Zach returns, he still can't touch Kyle Hawthorne's position. That's right. What's the use of returning to a wealthy family if you're still inferior? At that moment, my phone buzzed. My manager's shrill voice nearly pierced my eardrum. "Zach, my dear boy, come back immediately. Forget this family reunion. The live stream is everywhere. The internet is exploding. They're calling you ungrateful. Do you know how much money the Hawthornes have invested in our company? Are you trying to kill me?" I chuckled softly. "Sis, don't worry," I said calmly. "Just watch the live stream. I'll take responsibility." My manager sounded like she was about to cry. "My precious boy, Olivia Hawthorne is terrifying. She's the heir, and she's notoriously overprotective of her brother. You offended Kyle. Do you think she'll let this slide? If the Hawthornes withdraw their investment, you'll be the first one shelved." Suddenly, there was chaos on the other end of the line. "Oh no, I can't talk. The Hawthorne Group's business department just sent a notice." The call cut off. I laughed. My adoptive mother was Lydia Lynn, a 3-time Best Actress winner. I had never publicized it because I didn't want people saying I relied on connections. The Hawthornes thought they could crush me. Seeing me hang up, Kyle lowered his voice and sneered. "Looks like Big Sis has already made her move." "Obey quietly," he said. "Even if you have Hawthorne blood with that attitude, don't ever dream of stepping into this house again." Just then, a flashy red sports car screeched to a halt in front of the mansion. Olivia Hawthorne stepped out, cold and imposing. Kyle's expression changed instantly. He rushed over and grabbed her arm. "Big Sis, you're finally back." Olivia walked straight toward me, eyes scanning me from head to toe. "So you're Zach Hawthorne." The paparazzi held their breath. "Miss Hawthorne," someone shouted, "Zach is your long-lost brother. How do you feel?" Olivia sneered. "It's true Zach shares blood with the Hawthorne family," she said coolly. "But Kyle has been with us for many years. He's the only brother in my heart." She glanced at me disdainfully. On his first day back, he shows no respect for Kyle. His upbringing clearly lacked discipline. My phone rang again. It was my adoptive mother. I didn't answer. Olivia continued, voice sharp. "I don't care if you're some kind of star. The Hawthorne family isn't a place for you to create hype. If you cause trouble here, don't blame me for being ruthless." All cameras turned toward me. I faced the lens and smiled faintly, mockery in my eyes. "The entire country is watching this live," I said calmly. "It was this fake young master who tried to strip me. How did that turn into me causing trouble? And didn't you just withdraw investment from my project?" I continued. "Now you want to play the good person? So this is how the richest family in Bay City twists black and white." The comments exploded instantly. Support flooded the screen. Kyle's face stiffened. He quickly put on an innocent expression. "Big Sis didn't mean that," he said gently. "She's just protective of me. Our family is wealthy. We can afford one more person. Today's events were all according to family rules." He smiled condescendingly. "You just misunderstood. After all, you didn't receive much education and started working very young. Your social experience is richer than mine, so it's natural you think more complexly." I laughed coldly and lifted my foot as if to kick him. He immediately shrieked, shut his eyes, and stumbled back. I put my foot down and laughed. "Do you know who first asked me for a paternity test? It wasn't you. My birth mother searched for me for years. In the end, crushed by guilt and despair, she took her own life. And I, after becoming famous, was recognized instantly by my grandmother. She begged me again and again to come home. The one waiting for me was never your father. Certainly not you or the arrogant Miss Hawthorne." Kyle suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, "So what if grandmother recognized you? This is the Hawthorne house. Big Sis is the only future heir Dad appointed. If she says you can't come in, you won't. I laughed inwardly, as expected of someone without blood ties. He didn't even know who truly held power. I pulled over a chair and sat down leisurely. Fine, I said softly. Then let's wait for Mr. Hawthorne to return. I smiled. If today doesn't explode big enough, these two won't know who's really in charge. I scrolled through the live comments calmly, when suddenly an angry roar shook the air. What is going on? Since when did the Hawthorne house become someone else's stage? I looked up. Mr. Hawthorne stood there, veins bulging. I rose slowly and smiled faintly. No one's treating it like a stage, I said. It's more like certain people are squatting in someone else's nest, thinking they're the masters. Mr. Hawthorne glanced at the surrounding cameras, his face turning ashen. Butler Wong, he barked. Get these reporters out. The paparazzi erupted. On what grounds? We're just filming Zach. Mr. Hawthorne, you won't even let your own son through the door. Where's the justice in that? Mr. Hawthorne's temples throbbed violently. Mr. Hawthorne's temples throbbed visibly as he stared at me. Who knows if he's just after the Hawthorne family's money, he sneered. Don't think that just because you've made a few trashy films you're something special. We're already willing to acknowledge him as a son, he continued angrily. Yet he's not only ungrateful, he even wants to come back and ruin the Hawthorne family's century-old reputation. I looked at Mr. Hawthorne and felt nothing but irony. This man, who had changed his surname just to marry into a wealthy family, actually had the nerve to lecture me. Seeing that I stayed silent, Olivia assumed I was frightened. She waved her hand sharply. Throw them all out. Then she coldly ordered, for the next few days, if you see any news unfavorable to the Hawthorne family, don't let a single piece slip through. The paparazzi glanced at one another. Many reluctantly lowered their cameras, completely forgetting that this was still a live broadcast. Kyle pointed at me, his voice full of mockery. Looks like this family reunion won't be happening today. When the big star is willing to change clothes and cross the fire pit, then we can talk again. Mr. Hawthorne also looked at me with disdain. Don't think that having some blood ties means you can throw your weight around in the Hawthorne family. We don't welcome a son like you, someone who doesn't know how to behave. Get out. Don't dirty the Hawthorne grounds. Just then, an angry, vigorous roar thundered from outside. I'd like to see who dares touch even a single hair on my grandson's head. An elderly woman with white hair strode in, leaning heavily on a cane. Her presence alone commanded absolute authority. She was the true ruler of the Hawthorne family. My grandmother, Mrs. Hawthorne. The faces of Mr. Hawthorne, Olivia, and Kyle froze in shock. None of them had expected her to appear so suddenly. After my mother passed away, grandmother had moved to a neighboring city and handed full control of the Hawthorne group to Mr. Hawthorne. She rarely involved herself in worldly affairs anymore. In my previous life, she had been the one to recognize me and bring me back. But back then, I endured everything silently. She believed I was living well in the Hawthorne family. When Kyle slandered me with rumors about my chaotic private life, she had wanted to help. But by then, I had already fallen into depression and shut her out completely. I missed my chance to reconnect. Seeing her now, my eyes burned. Grandmother, I called out. She looked at me, pain flooding her aged eyes. Her wrinkled hand gently stroked the back of mine. Zach, it's all grandmother's fault. I can't believe I wasn't here on such an important day. Mr. Hawthorne's mouth fell open wide enough to fit an egg. Mom, why didn't you say you were coming? Grandmother slammed her cane hard against the ground. The impact echoed. I finally helped my daughter find her son, and this is how you treat him. She suddenly pointed straight at Mr. Hawthorne, her voice sharp and merciless. If I hadn't watched the live stream myself, I would never have known. How dare you? You're nothing but a son-in-law who married into our Hawthorne family. Since when do you have the right to point fingers at Zach? The paparazzi, who had just been scolded moments ago, instantly came alive again. Cameras were raised frantically. Breaking news. Shocking reveal. The wealthy Hawthorne family CEO is just a son-in-law. Real-life rich family drama. What a plot twist. Olivia, who had been so arrogant earlier, now panicked. She grabbed grandmother's sleeve and pleaded quietly, "Grandmother, please don't make such a scene. The Hawthorne Group's reputation is at stake." Grandmother shook her hand off violently. She pointed at Kyle and Olivia, her gaze razor-sharp. "Don't call me grandmother. Zach is my only grandson. The ones bringing shame to this family are you people." A paparazzo seized the moment and shouted loudly, "So Olivia isn't your granddaughter either." The old lady was furious. She didn't spare them any courtesy. "She's just the daughter Mr. Hawthorne brought with him. My daughter and he were a blended family." Her voice trembled with rage as she continued, "I shouldn't have been soft-hearted back then, letting these ungrateful wretches into my family." The entire scene erupted into chaos. The live stream exploded. "Holy, biggest scoop ever. This is insane." Olivia's face turned deathly pale. She grabbed Mr. Hawthorne and Kyle and rushed toward the villa. Grandmother held my hand tightly and followed. Inside the villa, crystal chandeliers glittered overhead. The moment grandmother stepped in, she slammed her cane into the ground with a thunderous crack. "Jeremy Hawthorne, kneel." Mr. Hawthorne trembled, but stubbornly remained standing. "Mom, what are you doing?" "I'm the CEO of Hawthorne Group." "CEO?" Grandmother sneered. "Without the Hawthorne family, you're nothing. Back then, you were just a poor boy. If the Hawthorne family hadn't taken pity on you, could you have married my daughter? Could you have what you have today?" Mr. Hawthorne tried to argue, but grandmother cut him off mercilessly. "Don't forget, when my daughter passed away, I told you clearly, if you behaved yourself, Hawthorne Group would be handed to you after I die. The majority shares are still in this old lady's hands. You're nothing but a puppet." Seeing that he still refused to kneel, grandmother grabbed an antique vase from the table and hurled it at him. "Kneel," she roared. "Don't make me repeat myself." The vase shattered at his feet. Shards flew everywhere. Terrified, Mr. Hawthorne's legs gave out. He collapsed to his knees with a heavy thud. Kyle and Olivia trembled, not daring to make a sound. Grandmother pointed at Mr. Hawthorne, then turned to me. "Zach, I'm making this clear today. You are in charge of this family. If anyone dares bully you, I'll break their legs." Her gaze shifted to Kyle, cold, merciless. "Especially you. Since when does the Hawthorne family allow you to set the rules?" I looked at grandmother, emotions surging violently in my chest. She was also pitiful. She had lost her daughter early, deceived by Jeremy Hawthorne for so many years. I only understood all of this at the very end of my previous life. I took a document from my bag and handed it to her. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Shock, anger, then unbearable grief. Suddenly, she hurled the document straight at Mr. Hawthorne's face. "You, how dare you deceive my daughter?" Mr. Hawthorne hurriedly picked it up and scanned it. His face drained of all color. It was the first thing I did after being reborn. A paternity test, irrefutable proof of his and Kyle's father-son relationship. You, how did you know?" Mr. Hawthorne stammered, pointing at me, terror flooding his eyes. Grandmother slammed her cane down again, roaring. "The reason my daughter married you was because she believed you were honest, that you'd be good to Zach. She felt it wasn't fair to you, that she already had a daughter, so she tolerated you bringing in a daughter from your previous marriage. She was even good to your daughter. You agreed before marriage each of you would only have one child. But you heartless wretch, you deceived her. If she had known you already had a son, she would never have married you." With the truth exposed, Kyle went all in. "So what? My dad worked hard in the Hawthorne family too. Since they got married, I'm their child as well. What's wrong with that?" Olivia also stepped forward, shielding them. "You said it yourself. Mom was good to me. So what does it matter whether I'm her biological child or not? I'm a Hawthorne now, and Hawthorne Group will be ours in the future." I sneered at their ugly faces. "Your calculations have been broadcast loud and clear across the entire country. Deliberately getting rid of me, then bringing back your own biological son, claiming it was to make up for lost affection. In reality, you were just waiting to eat my mother's inheritance. At the words getting rid of, grandmother's body shook violently. Zach, what did you say? They got rid of you? There's no solid evidence yet, I said softly. But I'll find it. I patted her hand reassuringly. Trust me, I'll make them pay. She turned slowly toward Mr. Hawthorne, every word squeezed out through clenched teeth. Get out. From now on, you are no longer part of the Hawthorne family. Mr. Hawthorne's face twisted. He stood and pointed at her, cursing. You old hag. Are you legally illiterate? I was legally married to your daughter. She's dead. Half of her assets are mine. Grandmother was about to explode, but I stopped her gently. It's okay, I said quietly. You won't get a single penny. Just then, rapid, familiar footsteps echoed outside. High heels. My heart warmed instantly. That rhythm belonged to the woman who raised me. The award-winning actress. The renowned director. Lydia Lynn. The door burst open. My mom rushed in, anxiety written all over her face. When she saw me, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. She was about to speak, when Kyle rushed forward, eyes shining with admiration. Ah, you're Miss Lynn. Why are you here? He turned excitedly to Olivia. Big Sis, did you help me talk to Miss Lynn? I want to debut too. Is that why she's here? Olivia glanced at me smugly and nodded. The Hawthorne Group has plenty of connections. Whatever you want to do, little brother, Big Sis will support you. Unlike some people who have to sell their body in borderline art films to get opportunities. My mother's expression darkened. Sell their body? Kyle pretended to be innocent, his voice sickeningly sweet. Miss Lynn, don't you know? Zach started filming those borderline art films right after graduation. He was practically naked, just in underwear. If he hadn't exposed himself like that with his acting skills, how could he possibly be famous? Grandmother's face turned ashen, ready to explode. But my mom was already furious. Who taught you to insult art like this? And in that film Zach shot, they used a professional body double. Where did you get such a filthy rumor? Kyle froze, staring at her in disbelief. Miss Lynn, don't let him fool you. I'm more handsome and a better actor than him. Why don't you support me instead? My big sis will give me plenty of resources, and I'll bring investment too. My mother swayed slightly, rage clearly visible. I quickly steadied her. Mom, don't be upset. Everyone stared at us in shock. She's your mom, someone whispered. I smiled faintly. Let me introduce her. This is my adoptive mother, Lydia Lynn. Mr. Hawthorne's expression turned complicated. How is this possible? Back then clearly. He stopped, then changed his tune. I mean, why didn't Zach say this earlier? If he had, things wouldn't have gotten so ugly. My mom laughed coldly. Oh, if he had said earlier that his adoptive mother was an award-winning actress, you wouldn't have bullied him? Tell me, how did you describe Zach's upbringing on the live stream? Kyle's eyes darted nervously. But Miss Lynn, you can't go back on your word. My brother said earlier that you agreed to arrange a role for me in the drama Zach is about to film. His tone suddenly turned jealous. Why does he get to be the male lead? Just because he's your adopted son. If netizens find out, he'll be labeled as someone who got in through connections. My mom, known in the industry as a fiercely independent woman for many years. There had never been any rumors about my mom, let alone anyone knowing she had a son. Since my debut, I had never publicly mentioned her. Naturally, no one would ever associate my success with getting in through connections. Kyle was clearly making a veiled threat. Olivia immediately chimed in, her tone sharp. Miss Lynn, you promised me. As an award-winning actress, you surely won't go back on your word, right? Don't forget, the Hawthorne Group has invested quite a bit in your projects. My mom gently stroked my hair, a meaningful smile curving her lips. When did I say I wouldn't give him a role? She said calmly. He can come. I knew my mom well. If she said that, Kyle was in for a very bad time. As we were leaving, grandmother glared fiercely at Mr. Hawthorne. One day, she said coldly, I will personally drive you out. Mr. Hawthorne shrank back, not daring to utter a single word. When I got home, the first thing I did was open Weibo. As expected, The hot search list was completely dominated by the Hawthorne family. Wealthy son-in-law refuses to recognize deceased wife's son. Fake young master of wealthy family usurps the nest. Fake young master, identity crisis. Popular young actor Zach Hawthorne's difficult return to wealthy family. Topic after topic exploded. Almost all public opinion was on my side. The netizens' comments were even more colorful. Holy crap, this plot is more dramatic than TV dramas. The world of the wealthy is truly as deep as the sea. I feel so bad for Zach. He can't even go back to his own home. I would have broken down already. Kyle is disgusting. Still wants to debut. I hereby declare myself his first anti-fan. But Zach's comeback was so satisfying. This is how our brother should fight back. Reading the comments, I couldn't help but laugh. It seemed Mr. Hawthorne and the others had thoroughly offended the paparazzi this time. Over the next few days, news about the Hawthorne family continued to ferment. First, Kyle's past scandals were dug up one by one. School bullying, plastic surgery, a chaotic private life. Then Hawthorne Group's stock price began to plunge. Business partners terminated contracts one after another. Mr. Hawthorne and Olivia ran around frantically, completely overwhelmed. As for me, I stayed home leisurely, eating snacks made by grandmother, watching the Hawthorne family fall into chaos. My mom's arrangement also arrived right on schedule. Kyle got the role he had been desperate for. But it wasn't the lead. He was cast as a minor servant in the drama. On the first day of filming, he acted arrogantly, pointing at the makeup artists and stylists. Do you think this makeup looks good? Is it suitable for me? What kind of trash are you putting on my face? My face is very precious. What kind of clothes are these? All wrinkled. I'm the young master of the wealthiest family. How can you treat me like this? Then he saw my exquisite styling. He completely lost it. I want what he's wearing. If you don't give it to me, I won't act. My manager wiped sweat from his forehead and whispered to me, "My dear, thank God there was a twist last time, otherwise you'd be playing this servant role." Honestly, I can't stand him. I want to punch him. The director walked in with a cold face. "Hurry up. We're about to start." Kyle tried to negotiate a better role again. Instead, he got scolded. "I don't care who you are," the director snapped. "If you want to act, then act. If not, get lost. If it weren't for Miss Lynn's recommendation, I wouldn't even consider you." Kyle looked aggrieved, but eventually walked back reluctantly. This was the scene where the servant confronts me. Suddenly inspired, I threw a punch during an intense moment. "You wretched thing! How dare you steal from me?" Kyle stumbled backward from the blow. He raised his head, about to hit me back. "Cut!" The director shouted angrily. "What are you doing?" Zach's explosive power was perfect. "You ruined it. Do it again." So I punched him again. No less than 10 times. I felt extremely satisfied. Finally, Kyle covered his swollen face and cursed at the director. "I quit. Let me tell you, offending the Hawthorne family won't end well for you." The director smiled calmly. "Go ahead and try. Your breach of contract fee isn't small. Given the Hawthorne family's current situation, they don't have the energy to care about you." Unable to refute anything, Kyle could only endure and continue filming. Several days later, he finally got his meal box. In the final cut, his close-up scenes totaled only a few minutes, and he looked extremely ugly. When the behind-the-scenes footage was released, the entire internet mocked him. His dream of becoming a star ended abruptly. Meanwhile, the private investigator finally made progress. I immediately took grandmother and rushed over. The investigator handed me an envelope. "The person who abandoned Kyle Hawthorne, the one you asked me to investigate, I found her. It turns out she really is Kyle's birth mother, Angelina Lewis." Less than a month after abandoning Kyle, he was adopted by Jeremy Hawthorne. Grandmother clenched her fists tightly. "How outrageous," she said angrily. "He clearly said before that his ex-wife had died." This was obviously a deliberate plan, to let his biological son usurp everything that belongs to Zach. The investigator then took out another document. There's more shocking news. Jeremy Hawthorne and Angelina Lewis were never divorced. I grabbed the copy immediately. The photo clearly showed Jeremy Hawthorne and Angelina Lewis. At that time, Jeremy Hawthorne was still called James Foster. To pursue my birth mother, he first changed his name to James Hawthorne. After marrying my mom, he changed his surname again to Hawthorne. I looked at grandmother and said firmly, "This constitutes bigamy and marriage fraud. His marriage to my mom is invalid." Grandmother nodded tearfully. Invalid is good, invalid is good. Then the investigator pulled out several more photos. Additionally, I found these. They're a bit blurry, but after technical processing, the people can be identified. He pointed at the driver. "This is Angelina Lewis. And the one in the passenger seat should be you." I examined the photo carefully. Vague memories surfaced. The scene happened when I was about 6 years old. That child, it was me. Grandmother looked at the photo, choking up. "It's you, Zach." That meant Angelina Lewis had deliberately abducted me back then. After the truth came to light, I reported it to the police immediately. At the same time, I gave a copy of the evidence to a paparazzo I trusted. Within hours, the entire internet knew the true face of Jeremy Hawthorne's family. Everyone was furious. Son-in-law stops at nothing for status. Actually conspired with wife to abduct the real young master. That fake young master still had the nerve to set rules for Zach. The director was so angry that he found a stand-in overnight and res-hot several scenes, completely removing Kyle from the drama. He even sent Kyle a lawyer's letter demanding compensation. After leaving the investigator's office, I went straight to a law firm. I hired a top lawyer and filed a lawsuit against Jeremy Hawthorne for bigamy and marriage fraud, officially declaring his marriage to my mom invalid. When Olivia found out, she came with a fruit basket, pleading softly, "Brother, we're family. There's no need to go this far." I turned her away, without hesitation. "Who's your brother? I don't have a sister like you. You've occupied the Hawthorne name for so long, it's time to give it back." Remembering how, in my previous life, she had paid trolls to destroy me online, I felt nothing but hatred. Less than a week later, the police sent news. Angelina Lewis had been arrested. She was a timid rural woman who believed confessing would protect her children. Her confession made the case even smoother. In the end, Jeremy Hawthorne fell from Mr. Hawthorne to a street rat. Forgery, bigamy, marriage fraud. Angelina wasn't spared either. "Are you stupid?" Kyle screamed at her. "Why did you confess? Now we have nothing. How could I have such a stupid mom? You should have just died in that village." Angelina cried. Whether from regret or heartbreak, I didn't care. It could never compare to the pain my birth mother felt when she lost her son. I felt no pity for them. Grandmother convened a board meeting immediately. Jeremy Hawthorne and his son were removed from all positions and expelled from the company. The legal department uncovered multiple instances of embezzlement. Both father and son were imprisoned. Without the Hawthorne family's protection, Kyle couldn't survive in the entertainment industry. He switched to live streaming. Then he got banned due to reports and boycotts. The next time I saw him was at the Starlight Awards. As my mom handed me the Best Actor trophy, I caught sight of Kyle sweeping the floor in a corner. When he saw me, he rushed onto the stage screaming. He got everything through connections. Lydia Lynn is his mom. My mom took the microphone calmly. "I was planning to announce this today. Zach is indeed my adopted son. But he has never relied on me. Every achievement he has today, he earned himself." The audience erupted in applause. Kyle's face turned red. He grabbed the trophy and tried to smash it onto my head. At the critical moment, my mom shoved me away. The trophy struck her face instead. Blood instantly flowed. Security guards restrained Kyle like mad dogs. My mom was rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, the injuries were superficial. Kyle, however, had broken the law. What awaited him was prison, where he could reunite with his father and sister. Later, grandmother transferred the Hawthorne group to my name. I became the sole heir of the Hawthorne family. To live up to my birth mother's and grandmother's expectations, I studied business while continuing my acting career, filled with motivation for the future. Meeting Jeremy Hawthorne's family was the greatest misfortune of my life. Having my loving, adoptive mother and my grandmother, that was the greatest fortune of my life. You reap what you sow. I have always believed. Everything is the best arrangement from heaven.